Hey, yo, where the dude who looked like the grizzly bear?
It's me? I'm the dude who looks like the grizzly bear? Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy, James Icy, and I'm back with another video. Now, in today's video, I want to talk about my experience with COVID. Now, to tell the story on how it's impacted my life over the past 2 years, I want to tell it kind of chronologically, you know, in a timeline format. So to do that, I gotta take you back to March 2020. You know, like the little dream sequence where they do the flashback. Insert that here. Not really. We're moving on. We're gonna just get this out the way here. What you're hearing now is just my experience. It's not necessarily facts. It's just the story told through my lens. So I may get some of these like true life events wrong, or like they might be off a little bit, but let's do our best to work with each other here. So taking it back to March 2020, COVID had just hit. It was basically just a myth. A myth is a wrong word. It just wasn't taken seriously as it is, you know, nowadays. So up until the point of March 2020, COVID was mainly just a rising concern. You know, here in the United States, it was a growing concern, but we weren't really taking it as serious as first. The news kind of broke about, you know, potential coronavirus might be spreading. I believe it started in China and, you know, I guess transitioned its way across the world, but here in the United States, it was March 2020 when the pandemic and lockdown hit. So when the pandemic hit in March 2020, that's when a lot of businesses had to shut down just because they didn't know how to handle the situation. That's when, you know, sports arenas shut down. They basically banned fans from the arena. Well, actually, the leagues, they kind of just like went on pause for a little bit. For, I want to say, about 2 to 3 months until like April, June-ish. That's when, at least the NBA is what I'm talking about and have in mind. That's when the NBA kind of resumed, and they resumed with having no fans, and they went into the bubble. Slowly seeing the world around me just kind of fizzle out and turn into this apocalyptic, kind of uncertain about what's the future gonna be. We just kind of seen the world just slowly start to shut down. Now, personally, I was affected by this in my workspace. At the time of March 2020, let's see, I was about to be 3 years into my tenure working as a bagger at Kroger's. And during this time, this is when I actually started to see a lot of those changes being made. Like, for example, March 2020, around that time, that's when, you know, we were enforced to start wearing masks at work. Specifically for us baggers at Kroger, this is a light little story. You know, shopping carts, you have the handle right here. It was now a new task of ours to sanitize the carts, so we would just get, you know, whatever cleaning detergent, soapy spray you would have. We'd spray the handles and then just wipe it down with the paper towels. Now at Kroger's, and I want to say also other grocery stores, but I'm mainly talking about my workspace at Kroger's. We also, we're the cashiers. They do their, you know, talking to the customers. They put up this big, like, glass divider right there, so I guess no spit could be, you know, transferred or nothing like that could be handled. I don't know, but you get the point. But it's kind of sad to say, but like COVID really inspired the world to just be an overall more clean place. Like, again, it's really sad because like I'm a clean person, you know. It didn't take a COVID pandemic for me to start washing my hands, but you know, when the COVID pandemic hit, it incentivized a lot of businesses, you know, top level businesses to stay open. In order for them to stay open, they had to be more hands-on with their cleanliness. So for example, you know, maybe a store or restaurant did maybe a deep clean once or twice a week. Now with COVID pandemic, that turned to damn near like every other day. Now personally, I want to say this time at Kroger's when the pandemic hit is kind of when my rough journey at Kroger's kind of began. I said at this point I've been working there for 3 years. My whole tenure at Kroger's lasted 4 years, 5 months. Now, my experience working at Kroger is a different story for a different day. Stay tuned for that. But around this time of March 2020, when the pandemic hit, is when a lot of these new rules and policies got put on us workers at Kroger. Some of them were just company line, you know, from the top CEOs of, you know, people I would never get to meet. But then some of them were also just from the immediate management, you know, the store manager being at the store. Now, I just got to get this out the way now. COVID is the worst thing that happened to that store. The store managers there, they were just irresponsible. Let's just say the rules applied to some. And at the time, management had just been enforcing so many rules. They just felt the need or even the pressure to just be more uptight. And that ultimately led to them worrying about smaller stuff that was even non-COVID related. But this was the beginning of really a poorly mismanaged situation at that Kroger's. But that's a different story for a different day. Currently talking about it, I don't even have the emotional will to want to just dive into those bag of memories. So we're gonna move on. Now in the spring semester of 2020, that was actually my first semester at a community college. This semester up until this point has been my first and only, and I guess technically last, because I've yet to go back to school. But I went to college to study broadcast media technology, and at the time I was really killing school, you know? I was doing my thing. Skipping ahead to the end, I ended up finishing with all A's. School was never a problem. School was actually, it was very fun. I actually committed to a field that I enjoyed, I found interesting from the start, and I just ran with it. Maintaining my grades were not the hard part at all. I can't stress that enough. Like school for me is not hard. It's really just holding myself accountable, which can be the hard part. A lot of the broadcast media technology work was a lot of hands-on. So when March 2020 hit and that, shut the world down, our classes were now moved online. Now, I was really saddened and, borderline really devastated and heartbroken at this because I was having literally so much fun just showing up to school. I kind of had a reputation in high school for, not attending class, every day. But in college, I really only missed one day, and that was because my car had engine power reduced and I couldn't make it to class on time. So I was really just taking college seriously and, really on the path to, kickstarting my life and my future. So the pandemic hit and our classes go online, and I finished strong, but I was really just not a fan of this. Now, I said a lot of our work was hands-on, and that very much so was true, but it's like, when we went to online classes, how could our work be hands-on in the classroom when we don't have the equipment with us here at home? The only thing I had at home was really just my phone and, like a little laptop. But the amount of work that I was able to do hands-on, get that hands-on experience was really just limited. So there was only so much we could do, talking online in them Zoom meetings. So again, I finished strong, and I want to say we only had about 2 months, which in turn became 8 weeks, about 15 or so class sessions online. It wasn't that bad, it just wasn't the ideal way to learn. I didn't say I don't think, but I had 5 classes that I was working through. So each 5 of those classes were now, online, It wasn't show up to 1 or 2 in person and then 3 or so were online. No, they were all moved to online. So I finished the semester, and, a semester of a community college, it cost me about $1,800, roughly around there. So up until this point, with the straight A's and the college experience and, the college debt, that semester is yet to be my only experience, and, I have yet to go back, but stay tuned in the future. I do want to go back, it's just a matter of when and not if. So to give you a recap up until this point, in the beginning of 2020, I began my first college semester. March 2020 hit, and that's when the world shut down and my classes went to online. That's when a lot of businesses and, my personal workspace started to make changes. And I'd say it probably took, 2 to 3 months for, all those changes to really just have some type of structure to them. So from mid-2020 to, well, I guess if I want to say late 2021, that's my tenure working at Kroger with all those new changes implemented. And from 2021 into 2022, here we are now. But since March 2020, it's just really, the world has really just felt like it's on pause. It doesn't even feel real. I mean, it feels surreal now because, this is the world we've been living in for, up until about 2 years now at this point. But it really just feels like the world has been on pause and we're all just waiting for the world to resume. But the world has been going on. It never paused. But still somewhere in my mind, it just feels like, okay, when are things going to get normal? And I definitely don't have the answer to that. You probably don't have the answer to that. Best we can do is just take it day by day and continue to do us, continue to be, clean, hygienic, stay clean, stay safe, stay out the way. Now, I do want to touch on this real lightly and real quick. Vaccines, I'm not going to sit here and encourage you to get something that I haven't already. Yes, I have not been vaccinated. It's more of my personal reasons. It's not because I'm scared, not because I'm paranoid, not because I believe in conspiracy theories. It's really just a when and not if. I do plan on getting it, it's just I haven't gotten around to it. And that's me possibly making excuses, but, I just haven't gotten it yet, Don't judge me. I won't judge you. I know you'll probably judge me still, but that's just the truth. Up until this point, I hope I've been able to make some type of structural timeline that makes some type of sense. And again, I apologize if it's not clearly. I know I can be all over the place, but I'm trying my best here. Now, there's one final story I have to tell, and that's truly my experience with COVID. So part of the timeline, I stopped working at Kroger's in early of November of 2021, and it was, late December of 2021 where I actually got COVID myself. Now, I can't really pinpoint the exact moment I got COVID, but I can tell you it probably was because I entered an environment around somebody who had it when I did not have my mask. That was very irresponsible of me. I take accountability for that. But I had actually gotten COVID, we're gonna say 2 to 3 days before Christmas Day of 2021. So I had got COVID, and the first 4 days of COVID were hell, to be honest. Like, I did not know what I was getting myself into. At first I had gotten sick, and I had felt my body building up to being weak and to being sick. Now, part of my COVID sickness and symptoms were I had the hot and cold chills. I would be laying on the heater, literally laying on the ground on the heater, and when the heat was blowing, I would feel warm up until a certain point, and then boom, the heat would stop, and then I would get, it would fall down, and I would feel cold within moments. So I got the hot cold chills, if that's what we want to call it, but I also just became very weak over the span of, let's just say like a 2-week period of when I, quarantined. So from, 2 days before Christmas, the 23rd of December to first week of January. That's the time period where I had COVID. So by day 3, 4, 5 is when my body really began to feel the fatigue, the weakness, and as a result, I did become lazy. So I was really just laying around going through it, man. It was not fun. Now, part of my foods that got me through COVID, soups, gotta go with soups, specifically, oh my God, there's a local farmer's market, not too far away, but they actually have a cactus chili. I have never heard of cactus chili anywhere else but this farmer's market. I actually kind of wanted to bring it to this video, but between me and you, there's a girl I used to talk to that now works there, and I just wanted to save myself from an awkward trip. But cactus chili was the #1 go-to, along with actually some broccoli cheddar soup from Panera. I believe I had an Olive Garden salad in there, and the greens and the sauce. Although I couldn't taste the sauce, that's a big thing too. No taste, no smell. I'll touch on that here in a second. But I did have an Olive Garden salad, and I did believe I had, a Kroger bag salad as well. Those were good on the body. And then also as a sweet little dessert, something that I found really helpful and really satisfying was daiquiri ice cream from Baskin-Robbins. Now, daiquiri ice cream, it's really just a light lime flavor. You're gonna hear me say that moving forward in the future. Stay tuned for that video. But it's really just a light lime flavor, so it really doesn't have a heavy taste to begin with. But just the texture of really just the soft serve, easy to dig into ice cream was really good for my mouth. But along with the ice cream, I also, talked about the soups and the salads. I didn't have any taste or smell. The smell part was kind of weird. It didn't take me long to adjust to that. I could still breathe, so my nose still worked. I just couldn't really smell the flavors in front of me. But the no taste was really the thing that tripped me out. Even drinking water, even drinking water became a weird thing to do. Now, you would argue water has no taste. I strongly disagree. I believe every water has a different taste. That's a debate for another day. Kroger water, which is my favorite and best tasting water, really had no taste. And it's weird for what you would say water has no taste, and I would argue it does. Right now, good taste. That feeling of having that good taste was just eliminated and wiped off. Now, when I had COVID, I would take a drink of water, and I would just have a weird face because water, for the first time to me, was actually tasteless. So a lot of my foods were really just not good, and I was really just eating them for texture. However, the only thing I will say that I was able to taste was the cactus chili, and I don't have that in front of me, of course, I told you why, but the cactus chili was really just it kind of just felt like a sweet chili with the texture of the meat and the beans. It was just so good and so satisfying. Also, I didn't mention, due to my lack of, eating and my, low diet intake, I probably lost easily 5 to 10 pounds. But other than me being physically weak, the worst part of having COVID is just a no taste. That's just, I don't wish that on anybody. Not being able to taste your food is not fun. Food doesn't hit different when you can't taste it. And really, just having taste is really something I take for granted, and you probably do too. Now that I'm able to taste again, I really didn't know before I had COVID how much I take the simple fact of being able to taste your food. Really, I take that for granted. It's really a luxury and a blessing, you could say, to just be able to taste your food. But to kind of piggyback on the physical side of COVID, I kind of want to talk about the mental aspects as well. Having COVID has actually taught me some very valuable life lessons. First of all, nobody was here to quarantine with me, and, you know, I wouldn't ask somebody to, hey, come with me, come get COVID, you know, because of me. You know, that's not my place. That's not what I want to do at all. But what I'm saying is nobody was actually here to be with me. I had to go through this journey alone. And, you know, I'm not really a guy who has a lot of friends. So, like, I didn't really have a lot of people to talk to. I didn't really have a lot of people to communicate with. So it really was just me going through this journey alone. But one of my favorite COVID activities was playing Warzone. If you know me, I'm a troll at heart, so whenever I would match up with randoms, you know, who would become my teammates, I would always put on my troll voice. And what I'm about to present to you is my pretty, tricky, Ricky voice. You were warned.
Hey, what's good, homie? Anybody got a mic? Anybody talking? I can't get no communication. None of that. Ooh. So, you know, I would hop in these lobbies and I'd be like, hey, hey, who the motherfucker who look like the grizzly bear? That's me. In this video, I'm the motherfucker who look like the grizzly bear. So yeah, and also I want to take this time to shout out my brother G5, you know, in that line of fire. I know my brother gonna cover me. Me and G5, that's a dynamic duo, destined to get dubs. So G5, he was also there. Shout out to Vinny. He sat through a lot of those trolling, pretty tricky Ricky voices. That's my brother, man. You know, he was really one of the only friends I had with me, you know. Playing Warzone with him, he wasn't here with me, but a lot of the time I had him to, you know, turn to and play Warzone. So I thank you, G5, aka Vinny. You're a real one for that. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, a lot of them activities, yeah, I can't help it now. Like, I just turn it on and off. I really talk like this kind of just in my day-to-day life in private. Like, it's really just a voice that I can't get rid of. Like, I don't know why it makes me this happy and enthusiastic. Leave a like on the video. Thank you. But COVID overall has made me kind of just appreciate the little things in life. You know, going through COVID really alone kind of made me just a sad person. So when I had got off quarantine, I was a lot happy to be free, if you want to say. COVID has shown me that I should just accept myself for me. You know, I talk about a lot in these videos now. I'm a perfectionist. I want to be great. I want to be the best. I want to be perfect at every and anything that I do. But for example, when I do these YouTube videos, and you know, today was no different. I like to, you know, take a shower, I get clean. You know, when I go out in public, it's no different. I like to take a shower and get clean. But as ridiculous as this sounds, my hair has a lot of, you know, maintenance, believe it or not. It's really long up to this point. But you know, I have a lot of headphone hair when I have the headphones on. When I lay down, you know, my hair gets matted down to one side. COVID has really taught me to just rock with it. Just stop trying to present yourself to be perfect. Do you, live your life as you, and, you know, people are going to accept you as you, and if they don't, F them. I would say in general, I'm a very laid back and chill person, but COVID has encouraged me to just be even more of that. You know, I'm not really somebody who's involved in a lot of drama. You know, I'm not involved in any drama, really. But COVID has encouraged me to continue to just stay out the way, stay in my own lane, and take care of my own business. So, I think that's about everything I got for y'all in this video. If you enjoyed this video, my COVID experience, then please hit that like and subscribe button down below. Also, comment if you had COVID, comment your COVID stories and experiences. I would love to hear them. But, yeah, I've been James Icy, featuring Pretty Tricky Ricky, and I'll see you next time. Peace.